Hello, everyone, and welcome to Someone Should Have Told Me. Oh my goodness. First, let me introduce my husband once again, Vincent.
Good day, everybody. Good day.
He is committed to join me in this quest to tell you people as much as we can about what, how they always say, if I had known then what I know now, how things would have been different. So we're trying to help you, let you know. So he has joined me on this quest. I wanted to talk about you need to have faith with raising these children.
Oh, good.
And that was, and that was mostly what I wanted to talk to y'all and Vincent about, because he had a lot to say when I was telling him some things that these kids are taking over because you can't spank them.
You can't get caught spanking them. But one of you must understand, if you want to be an individual, please leave your stupid parents while you know everything.
Right. Because they do all think they know everything.
Of course they do. We old. We don't know what we're talking about. You ain't lived life. You don't know love like I know love.
Now,
That's crazy.
I really am not upset that I'm not going to have grandkids, because the world is in a state. Now, I'm not saying that the kids can't turn out great, because I see some great parents out there. I see some great parents that are trying to do all they can for their kid, keeping them busy. Mine that isn't busy is the devil's workshop, they used to say. You remember that?
Absolutely. But when it comes to grandkids, you'd be surprised. There are a lot of people that don't have kids and have more children than anybody I know. I've got a couple of teachers that have taught for 30 and 40 years. And this was weird because she's at some place to go to Portugal or Peru, one of those places, and everybody has to stand up and say, okay, who are you? And give a little background about you. And she says, this one little girl stands up, about 24, so said, okay, I'm blank, blank, blank. And the lady I'm talking about was my teacher back in grade school. So you're surprised how your influence of somebody makes them yours, whether they're, birth, blood, or just somebody down the street that looks up to you.
So what you're saying is you pretty much influence everybody's life that you touch.
Yeah.
And you don't even know it.
But you got more kids than you can imagine. You just can't turn your back on them. You gotta walk with
it does take a village. Raise the children that are out here.
But nowadays, mass media has taught our kids that they are in control. And they're the same ones that tell us that they're out of control. Simply because they have no respect for what other people have done so that they have these opportunities.
Yeah, they have made parents afraid to do anything to their kids because they're scared they're going to be called on being abused, or maybe CPS is going to be called on them. But I want parents to look at that case in Michigan, that Oxford shooter, that the parents are on trial because they bought the kid a gun and he went out and shot up the school. And now they're on trial. And you know what? I agree with them being on trial. Do you agree with them having to be on trial, Vincent?
Why would you buy a child a gun? Emotions running wild, hormones off the rage. Nobody's the most popular person in school. I used to tell the boys, you get 2 things in life. You get 4 great years in high school or 40 greater years growing. Sometimes they have a hard time in there. Nobody's going to be the it person all the time. But there's no reason to give them weapons and tell them to go be mad at somebody because they're happy with the 4 years they might not have.
But that isn't what they were saying. What they were doing was not paying the boy any attention.
No.
They done bought him a gun, and then all cries for help were ignored.
True.
You
But,
know?
a lot of people just, you got to take time with them. And I mean, if you got 1 or 10 kids, each day, 1 day out of the week, 1 day out of the month, you just spend time with that one. Find out what they need, where they're at, how can I help them, where do I push. I used to tell my boys, I trust them. I trust them. But I showed up at every damn place I could because I need to feel better. I need to be that parent that's there when they need you. All right. So sometimes when it's your life and I want to do this and I want to go out, you have to switch it up. Take them with you. Find out who they are. Spend time with them. I mean, sometimes it's just a matter of, simple things that make the difference.
But you know what? It's hard enough because let's face it, most people are single parents. And it is hard enough being a parent with 2 parents. And then if you're a single parent and you have the other parent not cooperating with you, then who is running things? The kid is. That's the first thing. The parents, if you're going to leave, if one parent is going to leave the other parent, then at least you ought to be able to come together for your children. Because they didn't decide to come here. You guys decided to bring them here. And then one leaves like, I don't want to do this no more. This isn't a puppy.
No.
It's not even though I couldn't even do it to a puppy, and I don't even like dogs.
Trust me, I have been tested.
I have been tested. That's who's been tested. But anyway, that is not the subject.
We only had dogs for 30 years.
You know what? We're not on that subject.
No.
We're talking about children. You can talk about dogs on another podcast.
They don't talk back.
Oh. Well, they don't clean up nor do they grow up. But we're not talking about dogs. We're talking about children. And the thing is, the world, society has parents scared to even, they have them at ends with what even to do to punish their children. I mean, I know a young lady who has a 12-year-old who asked to go somewhere. The mother said no, and she said, you're just going to have to ground me because I'm going anyway. It's like, oh my goodness. Then she's like, well, what am I to do? This is somebody that when she goes over to her father's house, she is allowed to spend time with these people or these kids. But the thing is, how did she get where she was going? It wasn't even in her mother's neighborhood. And she said somebody's coming to pick her up. First of all, who do you know at 12 that can drive? My mother, oh my goodness.
I'm still scared, and I know I'm grown.
Right.
You said what you gonna do? Oh, I see the door opening and you might as well just lay on the ground and stay there because you're going back down.
And the thing is, those lessons last because you guys heard, if you haven't heard the story of both of my parents dying 17 hours apart, then you go back into my podcast and it's called I Witness Eternal Love. Okay, you go back. When that happened, everybody complimented all 7 of us, because I have 6 siblings, on how great we did and how we handled everything from financial to, the house to everything. We were complimented on how we handled it. And my remark is funny because I said, we better hit her because my mother's favorite line was, I'll knock your head off. And we were scared if we didn't that she would come back and knock our heads off.
But there's just lines of respect that you just have to keep. I mean, they're not easy, but they have to be done.
So this 12-year-old goes on. And my only advice to the mother was, you cannot allow this to happen. I can't tell you what to do to your child because I don't know what she likes or what will actually get through to her. So I can't give that advice, but I know that you better make her think that you have lost your mind, because just like those parents are on trial for their son shooting up, then you could be on trial for something else, like maybe her not going to school or many other things or whatever she might get into. And then if you're not on trial, then you might be a grandmother. I don't know, pretty soon later on. I mean, 12 years old, and somebody picking her up, they got to be at least 16, right? Unless, I don't know, these kids are getting in the car and driving. They don't even have a driver's license. I've seen that happen too. But anyway, you got to get a hold of your household was my advice to her, even though that's the only advice I can give her, but I don't know how you're gonna do it. But if you have to make them think, because I was like, I go in there throwing their stuff around and in their room, they think I was out of my mind. I might have to go in the bathroom and laugh later on, because that is taking me out of my character, and that's not who I am. But I need to do what I need to do to make this person that has came out of my body a viable person in society. You know, the only time that Vincent even spanked our kids, or whatever you want to call it.
That was too funny. Them boys called me up and said, Mommy gave us a whooping, but it didn't hurt. Now, they called me and told me that they were driving her nuts. I had to go off. But I find getting up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when they're in a good old REM sleep, you seem like the devil. We all remember that door opening up and you were sleeping. It's easier to get it stuck in their head that you're coming, and they never know when, if you actually show up. Sometimes you got to get them out their comfort zone. I remember one time I didn't take out the garbage. Next thing I knew, the garbage was in the bed with me. All right, you just didn't do certain things back then.
So it's other things to do besides,
physical violence.
Yeah.
But you got to find what they love, and you got to use it to the best advantages of you taking control of it. Social media is not supposed to be raising your kids. They're raising people just thinking that they're going to make $1 billion because everybody's going to watch them because they're doing stupid stuff. Stupid.
So my advice to somebody else, I'm going to be gentle with my advice. And like I said, I didn't know the little girl, nor, I'm just telling you what you need to do, but I'm not telling you how you need to do it, except for whatever extent you got to do to get to your child, to make them understand, even if you do have to step out of your character to be someone else so that you can get your point across.
Another crazy thing I did was I said, okay, we going to the show. We going to see what you want to go see. I had some bum stubs, made them get popcorn, let them get their pop, got them all the way to the door, say, oh, that's right. You didn't do what you were supposed to. Tore up the tickets and put them back in the car. You have to do things out of the box to make them reflect on what's important. Did I get my things done? If they need help, there's always help. But we all got to work it together.
And he used to tell them going to school was like
Paying
their
the
job.
bills.
Yeah. And if they got bad grades, then they wasn't going to have no lights.
Oh, yeah, that
well,
was
that
the
was
time
younger.
They lost power.
When they were younger.
I would just cut the power off in their room, and it was just so funny. I felt so bad, but I had to go to the bathroom and laugh. But you have to instill in them, this is your job. Getting this done. It's like paying the bills. That's why we get up every day. Got to pay your bills. So you get to do what you want to do. Have to do what you got to do.
But as I was saying before, that is my advice to someone else. They made me think about it, because then I went to this person whose 12-year-old daughter had did this and said this. She don't care about being grounded. And so then I gave my little advice like I told you. But then someone asked me, so what would you have done?
We would have
if this was your child.
Had some cover and found them.
So I told the story because I was like, let me tell you a story because back in the day, we only had one car. I was working midnights, but Benito had a car.
Yeah, because I wanted to get him off of the side of town that he was going to school as quickly as possible. You know, there are some depressed areas, and when certain kids think they have everything, you think you're great. You believe that you're big worm. But we fighting every day for you to have this opportunity.
And he went to school on the other side of town. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah, so that's why he had a car. But, so he is out, and I'm working midnights at the time, and he is out, and his car gets locked in the cemetery because the cemetery said gates lock at dusk. And it got dusk, and they locked the gate, and he couldn't get his car out.
He still can't explain to me, what the heaven are you doing in a cemetery?
Well, they was, oh, Lord, kids, what can you say?
Exactly.
So anyway, he was with this girl, and the girl her mother came and picked them up. And there was a group of kids, and they all went to the girl's house. And so he calls me at work and tells me he just going to spend the night there because his car got locked up and her mother picked her up.
That's funny.
So I called Vincent, and I was like, I'm going to tell you what I'm about to do. I'm about to go and get him because know the heaven he ain't spending the night at no one's house, especially not a girl's house. And he was in high school. He had to just be about 16. You know, so I'm like, no, I'm coming to get you. So I left work, went and got him. Now, I had to go get him from east. We lived west, which meant I would have had to pass my job to take him home. But, oh no, you're not staying there, but I don't have time to take you home. So you either can sleep in the car or you can come and sleep in the lounge at work. So I think he came in and slept in the lounge at work. Then we went home together in the morning, but he was all angry, lips all twisted, talking about, I don't understand why you had to come pick me up anyway. And I was like, because I'm not trying to be a grandmother. Not trying to be a grandmother at this stage in my life. So the advice that I give, you know, I don't know what to tell you to do. I don't want to tell you what to do, but I sure can tell you what I did and what I would do because you are not. And then there was a time he was a senior. I went to go pick him up from school, and I guess they had skipped their last class or whatever, and he wasn't even at the school when I came to get him. I called him, and he was like, oh, we coming down the street right now. So then you can't even say that you didn't skip because you weren't nowhere near the school. I was at this gas station, and you have them drop you off at this gas station. And so he was 17, taller than me too. But when he got out of that car, I took my hand and I popped him upside his head like, how dare you? How dare you have me come to school and you ain't even at the school for me to pick you up, which means, and you skip school, you are jeopardizing what is going on. And he was 17. I don't know. I feel like, you know, we have our children and they are our responsibility to make them do what needs to be done. Now, I don't feel like you should excessively spank or whip your children, but it's as a last resort because my children only got in trouble like with a spanking if it was dangerous or if it had to do something with school. Now, you running out in the street and I done told you to stop running out in the street and you done ran out there 2-3 times, then you need a spanking because this is dangerous for your own good. Therefore, not be excessive with it. If
everybody knows their child, you know who's going to go out the window and you know who's going to try that door. And it's our job to make sure that we're there to shock you back into reality. All right? it was reminds me of when the boys were little, and I'm like, well, they want to go sow their wild oats. I'm saying I can't tell you to do that because that could be my daughter, and I'd be sowing you against the wall. So it's a double-edged sword. You want to be a friend, but you can't. You must stay in a parent's place. You can't sit up and drink and smoke and, oh, we grown together. We can't be, because when it's time for you to influence them to do what's right, you got to be that influence. I mean, you just got to be.
So until they're out on their own, you really can't be their friend.
No.
Because you have to show them what it should be like. And then let them make their own mistakes and their own choices.
And be there to pick them up when they do.
My mother, I got whoopings and I turned out okay. I wasn't abused. My parents loved me. They gave me, the things that I needed. But every now and then a hard head. And
yes,
Vincent, yeah, Vincent and I joke with each other. What make your big head so hard?
Right.
So it's like we got to at least have control of what we have produced. That's why it's called raising or rearing. You just can't let them just do anything to anyone, and it's okay, because it's not.
And I've gotten so tired of so many grandparents trying to do the job that the parents act like they don't have time for. It's getting to the point to where I've got one lady, she's raising great grandkids because the parent wants to have a life. Once they start, your turn is up. Our focus must get back on them. We can't let AI run their lives and media play. Well, hell, media, period. When was the last time you just took them? We going on a picnic, get out for a walk, spend quality times with them. Are you interested in art? Do you want to sew? Brick lane, something where they learn skills where they're going along. Everybody's not going to be the doctor and lawyer. But like I've always taught my kids, find a job that you love, because you'll do it when you really don't want to. So find out what their interests are and try to motivate them towards it. Now, everybody's not going to be a celebrity on TV. But there are other things. There's behind the camera. There's sound. There's technology. There's ways for them to express themselves and make careers out of it. And they'll find a better life. You can't hang out with the bad guys and expect not to end up in a bad place. You can't let them come home with things that you didn't buy. Because again, eventually it's going to come back to haunt them.
Bottom line is, you have these children, and I'm going to talk about the men for a minute that leave their children. How can you produce a child and leave a child and then talk about the world? Because you're not doing your part to make the world a better place, because you just dropping seeds everywhere, having children and then having nothing to do with them. I know that men don't usually have the maternal instinct, but how can you see a child that looks like you and just leave it? And you know that this is your blood.
Well, a lot of people blame, okay, mine wasn't there. And, that's a good excuse, but it's what I call an excuse. You know what you wanted. You know how you wanted to be treated. You sat at that door and you waited for them to show up. How can you not learn from that and do everything that you didn't get done to you for them? To me, I didn't have a daddy. It's an excuse. You know what you wanted? Do it. It's the only way you can change the world.
And I don't know. Vincent says I scared my boys to death because I told them, if you have a child, your father woke up every morning with you, then you need to wake up every morning with that child, because if you say the mother is crazy, then what you leaving my grandchild with that crazy woman for? You picked her. So you need to stay with my grandchild until you can do better.
You got that from me. Because I told you, when I told my dad.
Excuse me, I ain't get nothing from you. But what you talking about? What you talking about?
All right. When I told my dad I was looking for him, he said your mom was crazy. I said, yeah, she was, but you left me with the crazy lady.
Okay, you may have said that. And however, I've been with you forever. It'll be 38 years.
9.
Vincent, don't start that. Anyway.
I want time served. My first 6 months, I want him back.
You didn't wait 6 months.
Well, you should have said no more often.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway, see, he's off subject. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but mine's funny.
Anyway, I told the boys, don't leave my grandkids with the crazy woman. You need to stay there, my grandchild, and raise them because you made them. You the one chose that woman, and you need to take responsibility and be with that child and make it a viable citizen in society.
You know, but some people just aren't meant to be together, and they've made a bad decision. It still has nothing to do with that child. You still have to spend as much time as possible. You gotta make it to the schools. You gotta make it to the plays. You gotta make it when they're standing outside that door on time, not just them looking lost. I've seen too many kids look lost because parents are like, well, it's her turn. Ain't no turns when it comes to my kids. We've been in blown out arguments, but if something happened to them, we drop everything and we're where we have to be.
Very much so. I remember Benito, he was pushing the glass door so that he could push the dog out of the room, and his hand went through the window and cut probably a main vein because it was squirting blood everywhere. We were 2 blocks away arguing at the salon because we didn't want to argue in front of the kids, and they called us. We don't even remember what we was arguing about. We dropped everything, came and got the kids, but they were so freaking smart that they had put pressure on and stopped the blood. By the time I didn't even know they knew that. I was like, how did you know to do that?
They see and know everything. So when you think you sneaking, you're not sneaking. They've been in every crawl space, every closet, in the bottom of every drawer. So if you think your weapon is put up, we've heard too many times where they already know where everything is.
Yes.
So
and they watching your every move.
Right. So the minute we got together, I took the bullets are in the attic and the gun is in the basement, and they never get back together.
But we got a bunch of swords around the house.
It's up close and personal. That's personal.
Right.
That's your immediate
You really
space.
trying to kill somebody if you didn't kill somebody with a sword. Yeah. You know, we just want you to know, because even if you can't stay together, which you deserve to stay together, but even if you can't stay together, then you have to sacrifice and at least co-parent properly to make these children. You can't fight one end to the other, because then the kid is winning. The kid is winning and the kid is running you guys. You
playing both sides.
Yes.
Mama won't let me. All right, well, I'm your daddy. I'm going to do it over there.
Right.
Make it matter.
And you trying to be, I'm going to be the best parent, which she's going to like me more or he's going to like me more. And all you're doing is messing the kid up because of your insecurities.
Quiet as kept. If they like me, I'm doing something wrong.
That's what they always say. If your kids like you, you're doing something wrong, because they should not. You should always be on them. But if it's a good kid, I don't agree with that. Okay, so we are going to go now because we have talked
about a bunch of things, and we still wait on the next one. We'll probably reiterate all of this because it's a constant fight.
Constant. You can email us at smhpodcast@gmail.com. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Say bye, Vincent.
Bye, Vincent.
I knew he was going to do that. Love you guys. Talk soon. Bye.